Midnight Sun. Joining me today is Alex Fincher and Robbie Mills, and also my sweet dog Smokey, because he just can't stand to be alone for an hour. So, he's just not in the camera. Today we're going to be talking about violent video games, their seeming effect on the sociality and population at large generally. This is something that we all can relate to because we grew up in a unique time. Yeah. In terms of, like, we all still know how to read both we know how to read analog clocks. Yeah. I think the percentage of the population that can read those is decreasing. Yeah, no, I mean, well, that was like the basis of math problems when we were kids. Yeah. Like, I mean,
it was so frustrating to learn. I don't know why.
Yeah, like, it was a pain in the ass. But, like, we kind of went from analog to digital. We're the analog to digital switch generation. Mm-hmm. So
it's like riding a bike, though. As soon as you learn it, you'll never forget it.
Oh, yeah. Try teaching a 21-year-old how to ride a bike, though. It's like fucking embarrassing. Can't imagine trying to teach them how to read a clock. Anyway, so violent video games have always been the whole like notion of, I guess, I don't know, like the myth or the rumor or the sentiment at large is that violent video games cause violent behavior. Like, they just cause our worst tendencies to come out, and I mean, honestly, who can blame them? My favorite case was the case. It was back when I was like 16. It was over 10 years ago, but it was a case of a kid who stole a crop duster from a farm, and he took off, and landed again, and the cops were able to, like, subdue him. Yeah. And when asked, he was 14 years old, and when asked how he managed to, like, how do you know how to fly a plane like this, he said, Grand Theft Auto. He literally said, I figured it out from Grand Theft Auto. And in San Andreas, you can actually take a flight school thing. Like, there is a flight school mini set of missions, so to progress further in a certain part of the story, you have to get your pilot's license. And so it teaches you, like, to land, you slow as much as possible. You want to slow as much as possible and come in kind of like this. Yeah. Get the rudders back and all that. It teaches you, like, the basics of. I'm not saying it's like this will certify you as a fucking pilot, but it's like within the physics of the game, which are modeled to be after ours. It teaches you the basic physics of landing a plane and taking off of the plane and doing loop-de-loops and swirls and shit like that.
So what was the first thing you did? Played a video game that had guns where you could aim and shoot, or actually shoot a weapon?
Oh. Video games.
Right? Yeah. And did you have the sense of, I know what I'm doing, when you got a hold of a gun?
No,
not at all. Oh, man, I did. I was like, really? I totally can do this. Yeah, your hand-eye coordination's a little bit different than somebody else that doesn't play.
I will totally agree with you on that. Like, if you play a ton of first-person shooters or even third-person adventure games, you get this sort of weird kind of reaction time and shit like that.
I actually had kind of a funny story on that real quick. Back when I was in high school, there was a friend of mine, I went shooting with him, and his son played a ton of Call of Duty. And so we go to the shooting range. We're just going to go skeet shooting with some 12 gauges. Okay. And the entire way, he is just bragging I'm going to destroy you guys. I am crazy good at Call of Duty. And my friend and I were just kind of like, we'll see. And I think he quit out of frustration after hitting about 10.
The dude that's good at Call of Duty rage quit? Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah. I got something here. A study from the University of Toronto finds that people who regularly play action video games like Call of Duty or Assassin's Creed are better able to learn new sensory motor tasks, improve hand-eye coordination than people who do not play video games.
I'm sad.
Wow. Because I love the Assassin's Creed franchise. Oh, yeah, and I got pretty hard at Call of Duty. I went pretty hard. Black Ops 2 was my game. Yeah. I could wreck fools.
Black Ops in general, I can't wait for the new one.
Yeah. You ask them who's going around with a gold ballistics knife. They know. Dead Smoke. Holler.
As much as I respect the game, I had to give up after a while.
Oh, so did I.
It was just too much. Like, the amount of time that people are playing this game and getting as good as they are, I didn't have the time to commit to that. And like it got to the point where I just wanted
Oh
to
shit,
go.
I did, and it was like, whoa.
I just wanted to come home from school, go online, unwind, play 5 or 6 matches online. Couldn't even do that anymore. It was like
I'm that jackass that kills everybody in the fucking game. I'm the guy that has like 34 and 2 deaths.
Oh my god. See,
yeah.
I've been there before. It wasn't regular, but like my regular on Call of Duty, my regular kill death ratio is like 1.5 to 2. Like I did good. Like it wasn't like beautiful, like professional level, but I did to where I'm like, yeah, stomp that ass full. Yeah. And the higher end of my spectrum was I'd have rounds where it was like 17 and 1. Like, death to all you hoes. Death to all of you.
It's an understanding of those games, particularly where people are going to show up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how quick you can react to the person that sees you and how quick they can shoot you. And you have to like try to see them first. That game
it was just irritating to me because like the last time I played it, a friend of mine had some of the like the Xbox classics. I mean, so I was like, oh, Modern Warfare, that was the first one I ever played. Let's go ahead and play that again. But what he was informing me, because it was just like I would go 2 and 10, 3 and 9, like I was just getting destroyed, and I was getting really frustrated. He was like, well, it might seem a lot of these people might have aimbots because it's such an older game, so a lot of the moderators probably aren't present in the game anymore. Because I was just so confused how I could hit somebody point blank in the chest 3-4 times and I still die. Like
those happen. When those happen, that's qualifying terms for a rage quit. What? You remember the little X's you get when you hit somebody? You get like 3 or 4 of those, and then it's like headshot to you, and you're like, "Are you shitting me right now?"
Yeah.
What I was just like, I just thought of something because like I used the phrase just now, "death to all you hoes," and I was meaning it like I really don't want any actual person to die, like none of that. What I was thinking about was the way that video games morph our language, and it kind of goes into the social issues we were talking about, like how you deal with people and stuff we were talking about before we got on camera. But like even the language. Have you ever heard somebody shout in the middle of something, "I am going to rape your corpse," or something of the nature?
Yeah.
And they're talking about teabagging your dead avatar. Like that's all they're talking about. But like you hear that when you hear that out of context, like if you were in a courtroom and you read that transcript back, "I'm going to rape your dead corpse," like that, it would just come off so wrong.
Yeah, we need to put this person in a prison.
Yeah, like they need to
behind bars
in a padded cell, like in one of these, like in a straitjacket and shit. But like the way that video games have messed with our language, like
noob or
we have new terms from it.
Yeah,
we have Pog.
That was something that.
Wait, what does Pog mean outside of a porn context?
It's
Alright, I was gonna say look up Pog because you're gonna get a bunch of porn at first, so be sure to turn the safe search on.
It's
how'd you spell it?
P-O-G.
Oh, okay, yeah, right.
Pog games.
We were thinking P-A-W-G. Yeah. We'll talk about that later.
Honestly, it's an emoji of this Asian guy that's like, just like. And so instead of
like the South Park gamer when they're like this.
Yeah. So they're like their lingo in video games is like the names of emojis in certain things.
Oh wow! Okay.
It's strange.
Is the term Pog like an acronym or?
Yeah, because I'm kind of curious now.
It's basically the name for the emoji that you can use in like streaming services and stuff. Like Twitch has the Pog emoji, which is that Asian guy that's like looking like he's enjoying himself. Yeah, it's pretty funny. But the thing that I'm noticing, because I played Fortnite since the second season of it, and at first it was
they have seasons of Fortnite.
Oh yeah, it's way into. I think it's in like season 4 or 5 or something like. I don't know anymore. I stopped keeping up with it. But at first. It was just a wide variety of adults, teenagers, and children. Yeah. And now it's just like overrun. All the adults and older young adults kind of pulled away from it. And now it's just this insanely toxic environment of children who who have worse mouths than we did at
Oh
first.
yeah.
It's insane. It's insane. Not only do they speak this way, their gameplay is that of a jackass. They're
trash gamers
too.
too. Oh my god!
Let me try to frame this for a minute. So we could definitely say that there would be sort of a dichotomy inherent, not just looking at like violence within the gameplay itself. You know, Call of Duty, even Skyrim or Assassin's Creed, but also with the social behavior that comes with the online games as well. So not just the gameplay, but also the online.
Yeah, because that's one that I was. That's the first note that I put down here for my little talking point was like solo or closed circuit offline gaming.
Yeah.
Versus online gaming and what comes with that. So like so when you're playing a single player game, the only real thing that would happen is you get pissed off at the game.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's perfectly rational. You've seen people at arcade games go, fuck, and like just hit it, and like they just get mad. But then you get like couch co-op games, like a great game is Duck Game. Mm-hmm. But you hear the things that I say to all, like, like I've called things that I'd have to like blank out just because even as minor views as we get for right now, they'd be like, whoa, no.
Flag.
Yeah. So, but you look at that, I'm never going to, like, I'll say some things and then I'll laugh after it. Because it's like I'm joking. When I call you, when I...
These kids are serious.
Yeah, they're
and the problem is, what I'm concerned about, we already know the social media toxic behavior that's going on.
Oh, God.
But we have this younger generation that is going to be worse.
Well, it's like they're used to that and just that, where we had to go, like, we would play games and then we had to go out and deal with people. So that way it was like, oh yeah. And so like whenever we play Duck Game, for example, and I'm like, I just go, like, I say something like, oh, fuck you, dude, you fucking guy, you just killed me, fuck you, I hope you die, shit like that. It's just in the game, and when the game ends, like, oh, that was a good game, that was a good round, that was pretty good, you make that comeback, like, that was good, shit like that. Yeah. Whereas, like, these, like, I knew, I'm never gonna fucking raise up to one of you dudes over a round of Duck Game. Like, I'm never going to be like, all right, no, sticks off, boy. Like, we're taking this outside. Like, whereas these kids, like, they've even done it on South Park, where it's just like, dude, I'm fucking 6 foot tall and jacked. I'll beat your ass. Like, they're just coming at these other people like strong. This could be an 8-year-old saying shit like this. Like, and there's not as big a disconnect between their online lives and their actual real in-person lives, whereas for us it was two different worlds. It was games and then like the real world, and they started to kind of merge. Like games like World of Warcraft, that's where it would kind of start to merge. Whereas now the big thing is online games.
Well, and I could say that social media is actually not as bad as video games, because in social media there is a sense of, well, okay, so think of it this way. You have a profile. Go ahead,
justify this.
You have a profile, and you have some of your information on this. On video games, you just hear a voice. You're just to the ether. You're hearing this voice, and you're spitting out your voice. And there's no repercussions whatsoever. I mean, there's no repercussions for social media, because somebody could just make a fake profile.
True.
But there's
more
nothing.
Anonymity inherent in video games. Yeah.
There is that, but at the same time, you don't see as near the same degree of censorship on online gaming as you do with social media these days.
Yeah, that too. That's a good point.
Wait, say that again?
Like, you don't see near the same degree of censorship in online gaming as you do with social media.
That's right, is because, like, you'll hear players getting kicked from lobbies and stuff for, like, shouting off racial slurs.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, but that's, like, really
But they're still allowed to play the game.
Say what?
But they're still allowed to play the game.
Yeah, they, like, get kicked from the server. They're not ousted from the entire thing, where you can get completely booted from, like, Twitter or something like that.
But all you have to do is
like
another
or something.
I was really more getting at, like, racial slurs. I was just going to use the same example. Like, if you use racial slurs, ideally, I think, they're more prone to kick you completely from Twitter than they are from a video game. Like, you can't get blocked from a Call of Duty video game. And I imagine there's actually legal rights to go with that, because you paid for the game, you paid for the, we have to pay for online play even on PlayStation now.
It's ridiculous.
So, I know, it sucks.
It's one of the reasons I don't do it anymore.
Well, I look at a game like Ark, and I love Ark, But I look at some of the online play. It's like there's no resources on any public server. So, because like everybody's built everywhere, and it's just inter-clan warfare. And I'm like, dude, I like exploring this island.
Yeah,
this is fun. That's why I stick to that. I don't even not play online to spite it. Or any of that. It's just like I'd rather play like a solo game where I just go on an adventure, just me and whoever. I don't have any like randos going, "Hey noob, what are you doing, you fuck boy?" Like what?
Well, I mean, even for example, like we played like Red Dead Redemption 2 for a while, and then they came out with online. And granted, like I saw some of the clips from online, and mainly there was a channel of a guy who does like a dead-on impression of Arthur Morgan's voice.
Oh, that was funny. Right. That was funny. Yeah.
But essentially, there doesn't really seem to be any set goal or objective or anything to do. It's just a bunch of people just dicking around in a town, just shooting whoever they want, lassoing people. I mean, if that's your cup of tea, then go for it. But it just that kind of defeats the purpose of the game.
That was the cool thing about like when they did GTA 5 online. The one I completely disagree with it. Like when I saw they did Elder Scrolls Online, I'm like, that is a one-player game. Yeah. Come on, guys. Like 76 was a big blow up. Like I asked everyone I know who played the game, and I know about a dozen people. Fallout 76, yeah. They were like, nah, it was terrible.
Yeah, a friend of mine told me the same thing.
But when they did GTA 5 online, it was really cool because when you started, what you did to customize your character was you picked grandparents. So you had it randomized your parents' genetic lineage from your grandparents that you picked, and then it would thus randomize yours. And you got this. It was really cool how they did the character creation on it. And what you do is you get a crew together and you can do heists and you can go through and do that kind of stuff. It wasn't just how you and Chad played online when it was GTA. That was 4, right? Yeah, that was GTA 4 online. Yeah, because you were in Liberty City.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny.
Going back to what you were saying on the having like a Twitter account banned and you can't go back to it. With the video games, like you guys were saying, you get banned, but it's like, oh, you're banned for a week or a month or however long they do it.
Yeah.
You'd have to like be actively like trying to steal money from other people or hacking other people's accounts, getting caught.
Yeah, to get permanently banned.
Yeah,
and with
what's
Twitter, it's like, oh man, my permanent account has been taken out. Yeah. But with a video game, it doesn't have all this stuff behind it, so that account's taken out. I'm just gonna make another account. On Twitter, it's not. I was gonna say
you have more experience with Twitch than I do. Can you get completely banned off of Twitch?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, because I know it's a subsidiary of Twitter. It's part of Twitter, so
or they can block you from being able to comment on people's stuff.
All right, yeah. Because that one YouTuber, the guy, what was his name? The dude who did the Nazi dog.
Oh, Carpe Donktum. I think was it?
No. It was.
Oh, no, not him. It was some guy in England.
Yeah, it was the guy in England. He got arrested and completely banned. He was a YouTuber. That's like how he made a living, was he did crazy YouTube videos, I guess. And he got his girlfriend's dog. I think it was his girlfriend's dog, right?
It was like a little pug or something.
Yeah, it was a pug, and he just got it to do. He got it to do essentially put its paw up, and then he dressed it up like a Nazi. And got him to do the trick and got it to like do the thing. No, dude, here is a crazy thing. He got arrested for that.
Yeah.
He got arrested for that. It wasn't just that he got banned. When he got banned, I was like, okay, sure. If there's enough people complaining, like they'll do it. But he got arrested for it.
In England, you can even get arrested for mean tweets, I hear.
Yeah, depending on the language you use. It's always dependent on the actual language, on the verbiage you use. But yeah.
Free speech laws.
What a beautiful country we live in.
I know. That's gotta love that. It's slowly, there's certain encroachments, but it's way better than anywhere else.
Yep.
I love the fact that we can criticize our government.
Yeah.
That's the biggest key of it.
If I wanted to put a dog in an outfit like that and have him raise his paw, as funny as it is, I can do it. And it'll be taken as a joke. Well, maybe some groups won't take it as a joke and they'll freak out.
There's always going to be those people.
Oh, always. Yeah, that's
especially
why.
In this day and age.
My initial reaction to that is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like, sorry, but some things are just funny because the idea was that it's this innocent, cute little dog that has no clue of what it's doing, and it's doing like the most evil thing we imagine. Like, I saw the humor in it immediately. I'm like, that's hilarious.
Yeah,
like,
you're a person.
With a sense of humor. Like, yeah. And another point that I wanted to bring up, the next point I wanted to bring up was the simulation of violence and temperament. So the folk wisdom, I guess you could call it, was that if you constantly show simulated violence to unconditioned children, they'll go out and try the violence out. Which is, to me, that seems horseshit. However, you have to take into account psychological factors like temperament.
I mean, there may be like a small percentage of kids that would go out and act it out, but I feel like the vast majority of them, I mean, even myself included, whenever I first was playing some violent video games, I mean, I was really big into like Lord of the Rings games. I'd go out and have sword fights with friends, but I mean, you get hit with these wooden swords, and like you realize, oh, it hurts, and very quickly you're able to differentiate. Like at least in our generation, Or he was like, "I wonder what this feels like."
Yeah.
Stabs himself.
Oh my god, that's what I've been doing to people. Wow, I belong here. It's like empathy. So let me ask this: what was the first violent video game you played, and how old were you?
I don't really remember.
And when I say violent,
I was going to ask, what is your definition of a violent video game?
Yeah, it's fair that we kind of get that. So it has to.
Are we talking like blood or? There
has to be the presence of blood. It doesn't necessarily have to be shooting because I would call I wouldn't say Street Fighter. Street Fighter's violence, but that's like, you know when you see the TV Y7 and it says fantasy violence?
Yeah. That's
what I would call that. It's like, okay, yeah, it's violence, but it's Street Fighter. This is meant for kids. I wouldn't call that for our purposes here, a violent video game. I would say Call of Duty, because Call of Duty was, or Medal of Honor. You guys remember Medal of Honor, right? Those are rated T, weren't they?
I think so.
Pull up a new tab and see, just to make sure, because I think that T-rated video games can be at that level of violence.
I mean, I think the first game I was ever exposed to was it was Killer Instinct on N64.
Okay.
And I mean, it was rated M for mature. I mean, I guess this if you actually play the campaign on it, which I never did. I just enjoyed doing the 1v1. But honestly, the only thing that was super violent about it, if any of the characters, even if it was a punch, there was just a big explosion of blood if you got hit.
Okay.
And that was a big no-no in my house.
Was it? How old were you?
Probably I want to say 7 or 8.
7 or 8. Was the game rated T or
M.
E? Oh, it was rated M. Really?
Yeah.
Wow, it must have been the blood. Did they have swear words in it?
Possibly. I don't remember. All I remember from it was just the blood.
All right, because the first violent video game I played, the one that I could say, I was 7, and it was Grand Theft Auto 3.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it had just come out, and my older cousin, he's like Eric. You've met Eric.
Yeah.
T for teen.
So, it was rated T? Medal of Honor was rated T? Because I would call that a violent video game. You're going around, you're shooting Nazis and stuff, but in the same token, it is a violent video game. But I played Grand Theft Auto for the first time when I was 7.
Yeah.
And so it was just, we knew the cheats. I still, R2, L1, R2, left, down, right, up, left, down, right, up. That's how you get all the weapons. And then just go through, and that's what I would do for years on end. The first time I actually played through a Grand Theft Auto game story-wise, I was 16, and I played through the story of San Andreas. Nice. Other than that, I had always just used cheats and dicked around because it's an outlet for violence.
Yeah,
and that's how
it's one of the most violent video games, I think, because
my mother,
how close it is to real life.
My mother banned me from playing it because I remember. Do you remember any of the missions from Grand Theft Auto 3? Do you remember?
I only started playing 5.
So Grand Theft Auto 3 had a mission called Pump Action Pimp, and it was a game where so there was a pimp that was taking over some of your boss's girls, and you had to go and kill him with a shotgun. Hence, Pump Action Pimp.
Yeah.
So when we were playing one time, my mom was in the other room within earshot, and my cousin just throws a grenade to kill this pimp, and I was like, "No, don't do that! You'll kill the hookers." And my mom's pokes her head. What the hell are you guys playing in here? What the fuck? She comes over and she sees the game. She goes, no, go ahead, play it. And we go, and we just, first 3 seconds, we shoot somebody in the chest with a shotgun. And she's like, okay, let's turn this off and let's not do this. But I was able to get, my friend got Vice City when we were 10 or 11. And then I got San Andreas because my mom, when I was 12 or 13, she's like, whatever, he plays other violent shit. But What about you? What was the first violent video game you played?
It would be Splinter Cell and Hitman.
Okay, how old were you?
Yeah. Shit.
Before I could walk. No.
Yeah, right. Probably after 10.
After 10? You were still, you were like, you were a young teenager or a tween though, right? Yeah. And so,
11 or 12.
notice that all of these were closed circuit, like single player, you just did that sort of thing kind of games. Mm-hmm. And so we didn't, I get a feeling that there's this sort of disconnect in our generation when we play games. It's like, okay, I go into a game, like when I play Grand Theft Auto, it's like anyone and everyone is capable of death. And it's not immoral here. I can just go nuts, and like the Matrix at the end of the third one, it just resets when I turn it back on or when I die or something like that. Because that's like part of the fun. Yeah, is how many stars can you get on you before you die? Like in Grand Theft Auto, that's a fun one. Violent video games help relieve stress and depression. Says Tamu professor. That must be a particular university. I'm not sure what university that is, but
Texas A&M. I don't know what the I is though.
University International.
Oh, International University. Okay.
A&M International University.
Oh, okay.
So it says young adults, male, female, who play violent video games long term handle stress better than non-playing adults and become less depressed and less hostile following a stressful task, according to a study by Texas A&M International University.
That's hey man, I can't speak to it because I don't know. I've played violent video games my whole life. Like I enjoy non-violent video games. Don't get me wrong. Like that game Peggle that I have. Mm-hmm. That's fun. That's just about popping bricks with a unicorn or a sleepy giant.
You posed a good point that in this day and age, it's like obviously violent video games are very very popular, but. I mean, I guess given a certain demographic, but yeah, now that I think of it, I'm not really sure how long it's been since I last played a non-violent game. Yeah,
right? I mean, there's always going to be, some kind of conflict in a bit. Shit, I remember there was a Monsters Inc. game, and it was rated E for everyone. Mm-hmm. And as you went through, you still had to, when you were playing as whatever monster, you still had to swat at little enemies that would come by, and they just would... You know, the old-fashioned animation where they go, don't, and then they blink away, and they leave behind, like, a potion or something like that. Yeah. It was like that. I wouldn't... Shit, I was going to say duck game, but that's premised on violence. Like, that is premised on killing other ducks.
There's no blood, but, I mean...
That and some of the ways that you kill things are comedic. Like, when you skip a box on someone's head, or you land on them with shoes.
Concussion!
Yeah, right? It's like... But, yeah, that... Violent video games are kind of it's the way of the world now. It's really hard to. The only other one that I can think of is there's kind of a movement of online games that are not premised around violence. Because Fall Guys is another one of those ones that's come out. It's an online game, multiplayer. You have tons of people online. The dialogue that I read when I was playing it at your house wasn't like people were swearing at each other and all this and that. They're just like, oh, boo-hoo, I lost. Oh, this guy sucked anyway and he got booted. Oh, just stuff like that. It's just light hacks at worst. Yeah. And it's not a violent video game. It's a fun game. It's wholesome and stuff like that. It's probably going to be real hard for the next generation of parents to shelter their kids from violence in video games.
Even nowadays, like with the online system, now you've got these international tournaments and you can actually win like thousands and thousands of dollars, if not like hundreds of thousands, depending on...
I'll just take Ninja. That dude's a millionaire just for playing Fortnite.
Really?
Yeah. And like some of the people that are coming up in the newer Call of Duty games, I forget which one's the newer one.
You got to remember, esports are a thing now.
Something like that. Yeah, these people are making thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars playing these games. And even kids going in Fortnite. This kid Booga won like $4 million at a Fortnite tournament.
Are you serious?
He's not even 18. And I think he was like 16 or 17. I forget how old he was, but he was he was a teenager. And
that is ridiculous.
Millionaire now.
See, all right, now here's my other thing is I had a mixed opinion on esports and like how big it ought to be. And there are some games where I look at it and it's like, all right, that takes skill. There's some things that take skill. I hear about people that play a game like Madden, and they have like a Twitch account or whatever for Madden, and they get paid for that. And I'm like, okay, look, dude, play whatever game you want. I don't give a shit. I don't care. But who the fuck is watching someone else play Madden? Like, why aren't you watching football?
Speaking of violence in Madden, there was a Madden tournament. I don't remember what year. You know what I'm getting at?
Maybe.
He ends up losing to somebody, and he's at this tournament. He pulls a gun out, and he just starts shooting people.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
What?
That was rough. And that's not even a violent
Did he kill anybody?
Oh, yeah. I mean, and he injured quite a few people. But that's not even a violent video game.
That's just psychosis over losing.
Yeah.
Like, that's not... How old was he?
I don't remember exactly.
Do you remember when it was?
This was a while.
Okay, so...
This was maybe 4
I was
years
wondering,
ago,
like, were
3 or 4
people
years
people taunting the guy, or did he just lose the game and then just blew up?
I mean, if you show up to a gaming tournament and you're strapped, I mean, you must have had the intent prior.
Oh yeah.
Dude, that's messed up. That kind of breeds that temperament thing. I think people who are going to go out and commit acts of violence are just going to do that anyway.
Yeah.
Regardless, kind of like how we said when we were talking about the Second Amendment. How I was like, if I want to like stab you, or if I want you harmed, I'll use whatever means are at my disposal. Like if I want to do that, I'm going to do it.
It seems like the whole like video games cause violence in society argument might be just some sociologist trying to like get their name out there.
Yeah. Well, to me it sounds
24 years old.
24 in what year?
2008.
In 2008?
Or 18, sorry.
Oh, 2018. He was 24 in 2018.
He shot and killed 2 people and injured another 10 before committing suicide.
I think technically he's still a millennial. Damn, man, he's still of our generation.
This
Bastard.
is Madden NFL 19.
God.
I mean, honestly, I used to love the Madden games, and at least just in my opinion, for me, they got way too technical, and I would lose to the CPU all the time. I was constantly I couldn't figure out the controls. I mean, call me stupid, but I was like, you know what? It's better for my mental health that I just quit this game now and
see,
on.
sports games don't entail a lot of violence. Right? Like, I mean, it's just a sport. Because the idea is if you pull violence in a sport, that's a foul. And, like, that's completely against the nature of it anyway, right? So...
And would it have happened if it was a violent video game that they were playing?
Well, this guy seemed... That's what I was going to say. You know how they used to say that the big myth was that marijuana causes schizophrenia? Mm-hmm. And it's like, no, it doesn't do that. But people who have a genetic history... of schizophrenia in their bloodline, and they they have the propensity. Marijuana actually turns out to manifest that. It has a higher propensity to manifest that particular set of genetics.
Yeah.
So there is that. I think that violent video games are kind of like that for people that are already predisposed to go out and commit violence. Yeah. Is if you were going to do it anyway, this just maybe it manifests earlier and we can figure it out. We can catch it from that. Who knows? But it could be something to that effect.
As far as like Madden being a non-violent game, did any of y'all ever play NFL Blitz? There wasn't blood or anything, but it was essentially these pro football games. The graphics are terrible by today's standards, but it was probably my favorite game growing up. Your player, in order to tackle somebody, I mean, all the guys were like, they looked like the Incredible Hulk, all the players, and as you're running with the ball, you would hit B, I think, to tackle the guy, but your player would launch himself probably about 10 yards head first, which targeting by today's standards, and just hit the guy, and then the guy would do like a backflip and land, and when the guy was down, there would be a brief period before the next play got set up, and you could switch to all your players and body slam the guy. It was so funny, but it's like, it was one of those games where, I mean, I've never really been one for trash talk myself, but if I'm playing this game and somebody's beating me, it's a game that I love, and they're trash talking me, it's just like, yeah, I'm probably not going to play it too much longer.
Trash talk's a motherfucker.
Yeah.
That's like part of it, though.
I mean, if it's in good fun, then that's fine. But if it's a little bit more than that.
Well, like, to me, it's always a sign that you're going personal when you start bringing the, like, people related to the person into it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, when we're playing, I always use Duck Game because that's, like, hella trash talk.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're allowed to attack my gameplay. You're allowed to attack my focus. You're allowed to make basic character attacks on me because, you know, I just killed you. Whatever. But the minute it's like, I'm going to sleep with your girlfriend or something like that, it's like, bro... Like, this is a game between friends.
That went 1 to 100 real quick.
What happened, dude? What happened? You know, like...
Have you ever had a bad day and just got into Grand Theft Auto and just went on a rampage?
Oh, totally.
Yeah,
dude, I'm not gonna lie.
So how would that... You go into a game that allows you this possibility to...
It's catharsis.
Yeah, you can go and do what you wish you could do in the real world in this artificial world.
What does that say about you?
Without repercussions.
What does it say about you that it's like that's a fantasy that's there? 'Cause it's like,
well,
I just want to shoot a grenade
How
launcher.
many of us think of like the worst thing that you could possibly do to some shithead that you come across in the daytime?
Oh, yeah. Like,
outside of
like somebody cuts you off in traffic and it's like, all right, I'm going to get home, get on Grand Theft Auto, and I'm going to find somebody that cut me off, and I'm going to blow them up in the video game.
How many schools and movie theaters have you shot up in that game?
Oh, right. How many games depict that shit?
I think that's why there's well, actually, it's an international law.
Probably.
It's an international law. You can't depict the death of a child in a video game. Because, like, okay, go to Fallout. You remember those annoying little bastards that run Fort Candlelight or whatever the hell? It's a place ran entirely by children. You can take. I one time used 8 slugs shooting this one annoying kid. He was just super annoying. He was one of the kids that would tell you that you're weak and he's like way stronger than you and all that kind of stuff. And then of course you blow him in the face with a shotgun and he runs away screaming, but he doesn't die. You do that to everybody else in the game and their head pops like a zit. Like it just, you know.
I had finally tried that in Skyrim. You got like a little kid, you know, just for no reason. You don't say anything to them. It's like in Whiterun, they just run right by you and they're like I'm not afraid of you. You're not that tough. I don't care if you're older than me. And she followed me into my house, so I pulled out a sword and I was just like, all right, and I hacked at her, and immediately I get a bounty for attacking a child, and her reaction was hysterical. She goes, "Oh, good for you! I didn't think you had it in you." I was like, okay, even though we can't kill the kids in the game, at least they made it funny.
Well, there's a bit of humor. It's like, you gonna strike a child with that sword? You gonna do it?
Do it.
Oh, all right, yeah, all right. Respect. I'll leave you alone. Like,
but I mean, it's not like we're gonna carry that out into daily life. And if some kid is back talking you, you're just gonna pull your gun out and shoot him.
Well, you know that in Grand Theft Auto 4, they intentionally had no airplanes in it for a reason. You can spawn a dodo jet that has no wings, and it's because it's New York, and they didn't want anybody to simulate a 9/11. And then in GTA 5, you can literally steal a 747 and fly it into one of the towers in Los Santos.
Okay, so their logic was too soon.
Yeah, it was kind of a too soon sort of thing. But in the same token, what I love was the notion that, okay, you take the idea of violent video games cause people to go out and commit violence. It's like, who the fuck is going to go like, wait, I can steal a plane and fly it into buildings? Going to the airport. Like who does? Nobody does that. Like I don't. There was when Grand Theft Auto 5 first came out and you could play in first person. I got it on PS4 and you could play in first person and all that kind of stuff. One thing I love to do. This is something. Do this when you play GTA 5. You find a nice long stretch of street with a sidewalk, and what you do is you drive up one way. And you just Uzi the first half, right? And you get them all running this way. They just, for some reason, the gunfire is coming like this. The CPUs just run this way. Then you drive up the end of the street, turn around, and just hop up on the sidewalk. And as they run at your car, you just boom, 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 just mow them down. And see, I played that game for about 5 days straight.
Yeah.
And half of it was doing shit like that. Was just finding different and creative ways to kill as many CPUs as I could in one go. And then I hop in my car after playing this game for so long, and I'm like driving, and all I see is I'm like, this street works for that. I could just like hop up right now. They wouldn't know. But naturally, I'm like, oh no, that's the video game world. This is the real world. I can't. There was like no potential overlap between the worlds. I just saw something that looks, because I was playing the game in first person.
Like you don't get any extra lives in the real world.
Oh yeah, and that, and when you get busted or wasted in the real world, you don't like wake up outside of the place after everything's said and done.
Yeah,
you're like going through some legal shit and some medical shit.
Yeah,
when that happens. That was another thing that I was going to bring up was screen simulation versus VR style simulation. So when you play on a screen, when you play the classic video games that we're used to, you're playing on a screen. You know, your mom can yell, dinner's ready, or, whatever.
Yeah.
You can hear the dogs barking outside, and it's like, okay, I'm in this, but, like, this is fantasy. This is not the real world. I'm in the real world. I'm just simulating something on a fantasy world. Whereas when you do the VR sort of setup, the idea is to tune your hearing only to the game, block out all visual stimuli, with the exception of that's in the game, to sort of become in the game. So my thing is like that's where you kind of start to merge realities, because that game sort of becomes your reality in a VR setting. And I haven't done a whole lot of VR gaming, so.
I have something that I pulled up. This Horizon Air employee whose duties were to handle baggage and de-ice planes. He was 28. He stole a 72-seat passenger plane in Seattle. When he was asked if he was comfortable flying the plane, he responded, "I played video games before, so I know what I'm doing a little." And this guy, I think for an hour, he was flying this plane, and then of course he ended up crashing it.
Did he die?
Yeah.
Did he?
Wait, go back up. Gary Beck, Mr. Russell, who died when
Yeah, he died.
Sorry, buddy. I mean, you should have paid attention on how to land that fucking plane.
Sorry for laughing at that, but I mean,
I'm
laughing at the fact that he could fly that for an hour in all his response on whether or not he felt comfortable.
Well, it says the dude took off and from the Seattle Tacoma International Airport. There's just mountains and hills all over there. Like the only place you really have to land, I mean, unless you flew way east, would be back at the airport. So,
yeah.
I didn't really think that one through.
I love when they make that announcement on airplanes too. If we have to undertake a mountain landing, I look at that. I'm like, you mean an explosion?
Yeah.
Like. Just a big ball of fire filled with people. Like, that's what a mountain landing will be. There is no mountain landing.
On the bright side, quick.
Yeah, I honestly think that's why they have you do that position like that, so it just snaps your neck and you die. I wondered that
too. I'm like, what is that gonna do? Like,
kill you faster. Honestly, the last thing you want is to like you make impact and you slam forward, fucking hit your face right here, you snap your nose off, break your neck, and you're like, and you're like gimped out and dying in a burning hellhole.
Or the possibility that you live and then they're faced with a lawsuit.
Probably. So,
oh my
God. They were asked if they thought that flight simulations and games were enough to have somebody be able to do this. And it says, yes, I believe that a civilian who has a thorough experience of flight simulation could indeed start, taxi, and take off an aircraft with no real-world pilot experience.
Well, I mean, you got to think that's training before you get go up in the air. When you get your license, you got to do it on a simulator.
Yeah.
Now the simulation is a video game that's entirely oriented towards that, towards
real world physics.
And all that.
Like
so they spend so much
of
the time on just getting the physics right.
I actually got
that it's not like Grand Theft Auto where it's like.
Yeah, you're just outside of a third-person view of the plane. You're not actually seeing the controls.
I actually got to do a naval simulator one time. You could switch to which type of U.S. naval ship that you wanted to pilot. So we went from cruisers to destroyers, and then we even did the airplane carriers. And
oh hell yeah!
Those things are tricky. They're huge.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, they're long. That's the thing. They're long.
It was trying to pull them into port. Everybody kept screwing up on.
Oh, I bet. That'd be a hell of a job, dude.
Oh yeah.
Captaining a freaking aircraft carrier.
Yeah.
These things are like a quarter mile long.
Yeah.
It seems like, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I knew that was a story out there. I had to find it.
Guy that just jacked a 72-person passenger jet. Like, what
That's
the
not
hell?
There was one other point that I wanted to kind of touch on. So I mean, we've briefly mentioned it a few times, but like just the way from our own upbringing of playing video games, even like the brief. I mean, granted, we were a little bit older when online gaming kind of became more of a thing, or at least being able to play with other people in a certain setting. But you look at kids today and what it's doing to their attitudes and behaviors, and I mean, towards the end of my time as a Call of Duty player, like the most toxic people that I encountered online, they were generally between like the ages of like 9 and 13.
Yeah,
and,
right.
And I'm thinking to myself, I get it. It's anonymous on the internet, but what is going on in your mind that you were telling these random strangers who, and it's not like I was beating them in the game or anything. They were just talking crap to people. And, and it's just like what makes you think this is okay? I mean, I don't even do that.
And it's like, okay, so like let's say you played an online game and you're in your community of friends and stuff. Well, like violence in school was like, I mean, we were the anti-bullying generation, so we are at the beginning end of like no violence in school, but there was still like that threat that if I talk so much shit to somebody and they happen to show up at school and they know it was me, they're gonna punch me in the fucking head.
Yeah.
Like and now there's so much anti-bullying, no violence, none of that. But there's no, and it's good, but it's that there's no risk of them being punched in the face for saying something stupid. Like, and that breeds a really bad tendency in the real world. Like,
well, I mean, it's in the way that the way that the school system is try to tackle the bullying issue or like fights in school. I mean, I get where they're coming from, but I mean now, like I'm adding to what you said, that there's no likelihood for repercussions. If there are, it's outside of school, because in school nowadays, it doesn't matter who throws the first punch. If you so much as try to defend yourself and fight somebody, for the most part, both of you are suspended, and it's so ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's a punishment towards defending yourself, and the idea is that's exactly how you stop. Not to sidetrack into bullying, but that's exactly how you stop it. Is teach kids to beat other kids' asses, but in a controlled manner. Like, you don't go around hitting people, but when somebody comes up, hey man, give me your lunch money or whatever.
But it's like they're trying. It's like it's a horrible method of indoctrination, because kids are gonna think it's like they're gonna leave school, and then it's like in the real world, you don't always have the state to rely on. That if somebody attacks you, like there's nobody that's gonna come 100% of the time.
There's not a moderator.
Yeah, exactly. So you could very well die, and then that's it. But so kids are. I mean, fortunately, some kids they at least know about self-defense. They're able to stand up for themselves outside of that situation. But like, what kind of message is that sending?
Yeah.
If they're just like, no, both you guys are fighting. No, you're done. And it's just like, I didn't do anything. He hit me. I was defending myself.
Yeah, that's not again, not to sidetrack, but it's kind of an important thing, having social ramifications in the real world, not just getting blocked. And like it goes to that idea of like, if I hit you with my car, it's like, well, I'll sue you. Okay, but you're gonna be in a body cast for a year. Like, do you not see the thing here? Like, yeah, you'll make me go through some legal trouble, but here's the thing: I will walk up into every courtroom that I have to go in.
Well, outside of a school, you're like you said, legal trouble. You're put in front of a court. They have to sit there and decide. In a school, they really don't have that luxury of evidence, and
that's why you're both suspended.
I think that's why you're both punished, to just deter the violence in general, which I mean sucks for the person who's defending himself.
Why does the principal do something about it? My job is mostly administrative.
Yeah.
And I mean, even in self-defense cases, sometimes people get fucked over on those.
Yeah, that's true.
So I mean, it may not be a bad idea to punish both, because you may end up trying to defend yourself and still get put in jail.
I mean, maybe in California or New York or something, but like, I mean, this is Texas and this is happening, and it's just, I don't know.
Yeah. Gonna slide back into Second Amendment issues.
I was gonna say, here we have guns.
What else do I have on here? Yeah, right. Oh yeah, Gen Z's hit the ground running with online gaming and social media. Kind of feel bad for them. We were socialized in front of people, but
yeah. It's like you also got to think about like the parenting of these kids that are on these video games, because I mean,
yeah, where's that parent to the asshole kid who's like screaming, "I'm gonna bang your mom," or just something stupid.
Yeah,
and it's like, son, you haven't even hit puberty yet. What are you talking about? But
exactly.
I mean, then again, you know, especially at younger ages, emotions tend to flare up a lot more.
Oh yeah, but, by all means.
It got to that point, like what happened to the parents telling their kids, "Go outside, go play, do something."
Dude, when I first got a PS2 and I was playing GTA 3 forever and ever and ever, my dad came in. We lived in Malaysia at the time. It's a tropical country. It's beautiful every day out of the year, save the 2 or 3 months of monsoon season. Mm-hmm. My dad comes into my room on my third day of gameplay, and he just rips the power cord out of the wall, and he's like, "Get outside! Just get outside! Your friends are out to get the hell outside!" Thank that old man every day for that. Yes, he did. I hated him. I didn't save, you dick!
You just canceled 4 hours of gameplay.
Do you know how many CPUs I killed? Gotta up my body count again when you're not around. Shit! But... yeah,
we were discussing what you were bringing up, which is where's the parent, because I'm having issues with how my son's behaving with people online, and it's kind of translating into his behavior outside of the game with my, not necessarily with me, a little bit more with my parents whenever he's visiting with them. And my kid isn't that toxic, crazy little shithead that's on a game talking to an adult, telling them, "I'm gonna whoop your ass," or just something stupid. You would be surprised the kind of trash that comes out of kids directed toward a 30 or me, an almost 30-year-old. Yeah, like you're kidding me, right?
It's all that anonymity, dude. All you are to them is an avatar with like your game tag and a voice. Like that's all it is.
God forbid you ever find their address. No. That'll shut them up real quick.
Be like, "I'm a hacker, dude. I got your IP. It's not long now."
Yeah, that's whenever they bust in, like...
"Tell mommy and daddy to buckle up.
He said some really profane things to me. I think he's a pedophile." Oh, God.
And that's the risk, dude, is these kids like that can talk all that shit, and then if you, like, talk it back, "I'm going to tell my mom," and then, like, who knows what could happen from there. I
mean, especially if the parents haven't seen that side of their kid. Just think that, "Oh, mommy's a little angel."
And that freaking on their high horse. "My kid's a saint."
Yeah.
Fuck your kid.
Your kid is a demon monkey, and he needs to be put in his place.
You don't slap him enough.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! It's like we need like a scared straight for these little kid trolls.
Oh my god! You remember that guy? "I'm Tyrone and I'm sick of this smoking shit," or "I'm Tyrone and I'm gonna fuck this guy's wife," or what? Remember that guy?
Yeah.
We need to get that guy because he's this big, he is jacked, dude. Like he is buff and cut. It's like, good lord, man, dude, curls in your sleep. Like we need to get him. Like, "Hey, man. So are you talking shit to like have the gamer tag?" "Yeah, that's me. I'm about to. Where's your mama at?"
"Where's your mom at? I'm about to bang your mom." Yeah.
That'd be fantastic.
Point, smoking's bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, but it is important to like take into the context that, you know, yes, in all instances, or in most instances at least, you know, words. They're just words. So really, it also depends a lot on the person's mindset. A lot of things. I thank God for the mute button. I play Clash Royale and Clash of Clans. Supercell, and if I didn't have that mute button for Clash Royale, like I would have been done with that game. It's I mean, I know they're just little emotes and stuff, but it's like also being able to just keep that in your mind. I'm mainly speaking about online game with like when you can audibly talk to somebody.
Yeah.
You know, just mute them, or if you have the ability to just tune it out, props. But
have you ever had to defend a child from a grown ass person that's like, oh man, there was this one time I was playing with this kid, and they were annoying, but they're kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this older, sounded like a black man, was, man, just using the most profane responses to this kid to get him to shut up. And it's like, I had to say something. It's like, come on, man.
These are
and
kids.
That's an issue where it's not only just the kids that are shitheads to
but
kids and adults.
They're bringing the worst out of everybody.
Yeah, well, or, just the adults who feel like, well,
they're doing it.
Not even that. They're just annoying, and I can say whatever the fuck I want to say to anybody of any age.
Yeah. No, then as an adult, they're reinforcing that as okay in this forum to the kids, even if it does get them to shut up. Even if it does get them to shut up, man.
I know
that kid was crying. Like,
wow, dude,
that was hard to be a part of. And like at first, I was playing and I had my mic muted, and I was like, all right, I gotta unmute my mic and start talking shit to this guy. It's like,
did you just start talking shit to him?
As clean as I could, because I knew that kid was like in the background, like.
Oh my god, that's like dark.
It was bad, man.
Man.
I've seen that shit too many times to
See, that's kind of sad in a way. It's like, dude, what? How bad? Look, man, I get that adult life can be kind of dark at certain points, but it's like, how bad are things that your release is shit talking a 9-year-old? Like, like
you're gonna run around going, man, this 9-year-old cry today.
Like good
my
lord,
life is complete.
Yeah, what the fuck's wrong with you? Yeah, it was.
That's like weird because if I get shit talked by an 11-year-old or something like that, I'm like, mute there, now I can play this.
Yeah, you don't exist now. Yeah.
I don't care.
Let him wear himself out.
What we would do sometimes is we get that mic, like we'd hook up to one of these, like it's just a mic and an earpiece, and so all the sound transmits into the earpiece, so we don't hear it. We would say some of the gnarliest shit. Like this was me. What we would do is Crystal was extremely good at Call of Duty, like intensely good at Call of Duty for a while, and she would play. She would hop on single player, and I just have the mic. And I'd just be like talking mad shit. Like just mad shit. Like, oh yeah, oh man, hopefully Dad wasn't a soldier. That brings back some memories, boy. Like just horrible shit. I didn't hear who all was there. I don't know who I was talking to at all.
You probably have some like 7-year-old that doesn't have a mic and just this profanity is just coming out of their TV.
And it's just, what is going
all
on?
All wide-eyed, like.
And the thing was, it's not like I was doing it with any, like, I'm going to get this one particular person. I want them to feel it. It's like, I'm just trying to distract everybody so she can kill more people in the game. Like, that's all I'm trying to do. And, because that's what trash talk does. That's the beauty of trash talk in the setting of a game. Is that
throws off your opponent.
It throws them off. Yeah, it throws off your opponent. The minute your opponent gets mad is when it's like, all right, now I'm about to come in for the kill shot.
The moment you're having fun with that and kicking their ass, it's just like you get in this flow state of like,
oh yeah, because it's fun and it's stimulating.
Yeah.
Like it's two different kinds of stimulating. It's fun and it's like you're testing your skill at the game. You're testing your skill at the game, which is always testing your skill is something. It's a flow state. It's we'll get onto that in a later subject. We'll talk about that. But flow state's a desirable state.
Yeah,
it says.
I think it's always funny when a kid's playing and like nobody has a mic on, and he's like talking mad shit to everybody,
and nobody's
responding. Yeah, you're just like, oh, good lord, God forbid somebody actually respond to you.
The best one that I had, and this is when I got shit talked. I was remember Kino Der Toten, the zombies map on Call of Duty Black Ops.
Yeah.
Legendary map.
Yeah,
it was so good. And I got into playing online on that because you could hook up with like 3 other people and really go hard on some zombies. So everybody quit except me and this one dude, and I was we were on round like 32. We were in it, and I'm like, all right, like dude, I kind of want to start again so that this is fun again because all we're doing, and also I had been dying and getting down, and he kept having to pick me up and win the round and stuff like that. And so eventually it got to where I'm like, all right, this isn't going to end anytime soon. So I like just exited out. This dude sends me a message. And I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something to the effect of, you demon whore, I carried your ass through that entire game and you fucking quit. I hope your mother dies of AIDS. Like, just horrible shit. Like, just horrible shit. And it was really pithy and short, but it was really, like, just wretched. And I'm like, I just saw it and busted out laughing because I'm like, this dude got... We were on the same team.
Yeah.
And I left. I was just like, no, I'm not. Usually it's like you get killed by somebody in an online match and they like get pissed off. That was we're on the same team.
It also shows a severe lack of awareness on his part because, I mean, it happens to me too. Like on Clash Royale, you know, you'll be playing with somebody and then they just quit out of nowhere and you don't necessarily... Like, immediately your first response is, oh, they're doing it to screw with me. And it's like, no, maybe something came up. Or maybe they had to go do something. Like, there's always that possibility. Now, obviously,
dude.
Maybe they were doing it to dick with you. I don't know. But you don't know. And so why resort to...
Well, that was the thing is I'm like, dude, like, it's 10:30. Like, even if I was staying up to play more, like, we can do this again. Like, there is so many... Life happens.
Yeah.
All of this kind of stuff, but, like... What? You want my mom to die horribly because I left a lobby? How are you going to deal when somebody doesn't give you a job or a promotion?
Oh, man.
Right?
Like, how are you going to deal with that? Oh, my God. Yeah, that shit was ridiculous. Video games can breed some toxic behaviors. But like you said, they can also breed some pretty good elements of adaptation. People, you know, we deal with stress. Apparently, people who play violent video games long term, according to that study, deal with stress better.
Well, imagine how you would deal with bullying if you're like online all the time, like going back and forth with somebody. Like in-person bullying, you're gonna have...
Oh, you're gonna get punched in the mouth.
Yeah.
Like, you're just gonna get punched in the mouth. Like, that's the first... Oh, all of the sounds you make come out of that. I'm gonna break it. Like...
But when you're dealing with it, the person receiving the bullying, you can actually kind of stand up for yourself verbally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The idea... Oh, yeah, you can stand up to it verbally, but, like, what happens when... There's a really funny video out there, like those two dogs, and there's a gate. There's two dogs, and they're on either sides of the gate, and they're just barking at each other, and like, in dog language, it sounds like, I'll fuck you up, you come any closer, you better not do that shit, boy. Bring that ass here. Bring it. And the gate is slowly drifting open.
Yeah.
And eventually they bark their way to where they're just face to face, and like right when they don't see that gate, they're like, yeah. All right. And they just mosey about their separate ways. Like, I get a feeling humans are going to be like that. Oh, yeah, like, and then they see each other in person, and they're like, I'll see you online. Like, well, I think we cracked open video gaming. It was more anecdotal, but we did have some good studies here. I enjoyed knowing that I potentially handle stress better.
Yeah, right.
Which I can look at it, it's
yourself without video games.
Kind of did.
I used to be pretty angry.
Oh yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
It's funny. Video games actually made me more angry, and then like it kind of dipped, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, but you took out your anger in that moment in your room by yourself.
Like this,
like instead of like getting angry out in the real world and like breaking somebody's property.
It's like just constant practices of just like decompression. You know, just. You know,
sometimes you need to let that shit out. And
yeah. But there's a time and a place to do it, and just getting better through trial and error of recognizing when that buildup is occurring, and being able to kind of stop that line of demarcation.
Yeah.
Where your anger is just
I like
building
that
up.
Because if you like what you brought up earlier, when you upset your opponent, their performance is. Negatively, it just drops, right?
Hack at him a little bit,
and that's kind of the shit talking. And when for me, playing video games and gaining control of that moment when you realize, all right, I'm starting to get frustrated. I'm starting to get frustrated, and my gameplay is going to start dropping if I keep. And I gotta let this go. I gotta let this go. Yeah, I gotta deal with this properly so that I can keep playing at a better level, instead of like dropping
that. And I was gonna say the shit talking to me is actually a valuable element of like gameplay. It kind of breeds a camaraderie, and I mean that like couch co-op and like I mean it's kind of like guy relationships are stereotyped, and if the stereotype is if you hurt yourself and your male friends don't immediately laugh at you and then come over and like, hey man, are you good? Like they should laugh at you first, be like, you got hit by a car, oh shit, he ain't getting up, like that kind of thing. Like fucking Dallas told me a story. Doug fell down some stairs at a party and he goes he like all of his closest friends were like just busting out laughing at him like, oh my god, dude, what the hell? Everybody who didn't know Doug that well was like, oh, you okay? And they're like all tending to him and whatnot. You guys are his friends? That's awful. Like, and it's like, no, that's exactly how it is. Like, if you hear the things I say to my friends when we're playing video games, you would think, why are they in your house? Like, why are they even here if you hate them that much? It's like, no, I love these guys. Like, that's the thing is I llove these guys. That's why I call them a shit-filled or something like that. Like, just something horrible and evil. And it's just like, oh yeah, good one, asshole. Like there was one we were playing duck game, and I forgot what happened, but I think I came back and just got ahead of Alex, and I was just like, oh yeah, what's up, dude? And he's just like, man, it's just like fucking harsh, and I just busted out laughing. I mean, it's an important part of the camaraderie, like you know you're friends with somebody if you can call them something wretched and they just laugh and say something right back. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you didn't know the person, then there might be some issues.
I'm gonna see if there's a little filter. I'm gonna see if there's a beep, like a beep that I can put over my C bombs.
That would be good. That would be good.
There probably is. If not, I can record something and be like beep and just play that. Play that back, but
you're such a teddy bear.
There was a censored one in China. It was Anchorman. Remember when they're doing the outtakes from the news, and he's like, "Oh yeah, well you're a dirty bitch." Like he says that to her. Bro, I'm not kidding you. Oh yeah, well you're a dirty tomato. yeah, that's what they decided to censor it with.
Huh.
Well. That'll do it on Violent Video Games for now. We'll see everybody at the Midnight Sun next Sunday when we're talking about some goofy shit. We got porn coming up. We got the oil field coming up. Who knows what else? Later, folks.